So hello friends, it is Kindra. Today we are going to be making my famous, not so famous, my famous banana bread muffins. These are my banana muffins. We're going to be making them today. Let's open them. So good. So this is really just my banana bread recipe, and I just kind of tweaked it so that I form it into muffins and then I have breakfast food. They're still warm. So good. So, if you'd like to make these muffins with me and see all sorts of interesting camera angles, I'm sure. I apologize, but cheers. I hope you have a good morning and let's bake together. For this recipe, you will need 1 standard size muffin tin, all-purpose flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, salt, vegetable oil, some sort of cooking spray, an egg, and 3 very ripe bananas. And to start off, preheat your oven at 350 degrees. Just a side note, in the middle of this video, you will see the complications of filming while being a stoner and having a roommate. Yeah. Such good times. Good times. So to begin this baking process, I actually have started getting out a kitchen scale and just doing this by weight. So you're going to want like a medium size mixing bowl, and I am just programming my scale here to go to grams. Now we are going to start off with the all-purpose flour, and you are going to use 240 grams of flour or 1.5 cups of this all-purpose flour. Now I am also kind of new to doing things by a kitchen scale, so it takes me a little while to get all the correct amounts, but I found that this is just easier and I have less dishes to do if I do it by scale versus getting out all my measuring cups. For some of the things it is needed, but for the larger amounts I do like to use my scale. Alrighty, now we have that 240 grams of flour. I'm just tearing out my scale here. And next we are going to be adding the sugar. So the sugar and the flour are going to go together. Now for sugar, we are going to be using 173 grams of sugar, or that equals 3/4 of a cup. If you're using measuring cups, 3/4 of a cup. Alrighty, next after the sugar is going to be our baking powder, and we are going to be doing 6 grams of baking powder, or that equates to 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Next is baking soda, and for that we are going to be doing 1.3 grams, or 1/4 teaspoon. And then cinnamon, this is going to be 0.7 grams, or 1/4 teaspoon. And then salt is going to be 0.9 grams, or 1/8 teaspoon. Now, some of those smaller measurements might be just a little bit off because my kitchen scale isn't super accurate with that, which is why I do tend to use my measuring spoons for those really small amounts. And next we are just going to combine all of those dry ingredients. We're going to slowly mix them together so that way they're well combined and ready for, oop, that's my oven. My oven is preheated. And we are just going to, oop, again, gently mix these ingredients together. Sometimes we get flour outside of the bowl, but we are going to make a well in the center so it is ready for our wet ingredients. So for our wet ingredients, we're going to get a small mixing bowl, and we are going to get those bananas. Very ripe bananas. Again, that is what you need for these banana muffins and banana bread, frankly. But I find it's just easier, rather than putting the whole banana in, to break it into a bit of smaller chunks. And we are just going to chunk up those bananas and prepare for mashing. Now see, once you've got all your banana chunks in there, I like to take just a fork and we are going to go to town with mashing. Now, I start kind of slow and just kind of slowly get them all kind of mashed into pieces. Sometimes it's easier to use the bottom of the bowl or the side of the bowl, but I do find that a fork works best for this. And we're just gonna mash them all up until they kind of get a little bit more liquidy. Once your bananas are nice and mashed and they kind of just look like goop, then we're gonna add the oil and the egg. So we are going to be using 53 grams of oil, or 1/4 cup. So I didn't use my scale for this part, but if you want to, you can just tear out that bowl of bananas and add the 53 grams of oil. And then we're also just going to be using 1 egg. I made a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. We're going to add in that oil and the egg into the mashed banana mixture. And then we're just going to break up that egg and mix all these 3 wet ingredients together, just so they are well mixed, and make sure that egg is really broken up and mixed in well. We don't want any really eggy bits in our banana loaf. Well, our banana muffins. This isn't a loaf. Now, once those are well mixed, we're going to bring back that bowl of our dry mixtures with the well in the center and just pour that right on in. Remember to grab a spatula and scrape all the goodness off of the sides because there's quite a bit that can sometimes get stuck in there. So now we are just going to slowly start incorporating that flour mixture into the wet mixture. You want to it's gonna get really thick. But what you want to do is just make sure there are no pockets of like clumps of flour, and you're gonna want to also continuously scrape the sides so that way everything is well incorporated. You get all that flour mixture in there. And also coming up, you are gonna hear my roommate doing a dab. So yeah, welcome to the stoner life. Once that is really well mixed, we are going to get our muffin tin back out, our standard size muffin tin, and some of our cooking spray. And you're going to want to spray every single little muffin area really well with this cooking spray. I do this instead of using like a muffin liner. I just find that it's honestly just easier, and you don't have to worry about buying all those little papers. And once that is really well sprayed, I like to just take a big, like a scoop, like a kind of ice cream type scoop, and we are going to scoop that banana, all that mixture. It's going to go right into the muffin tins. And I actually find with this recipe you can kind of overfill the muffin tins. I fill them almost all the way full. Like, you don't have to do the 2/3 full, you can fill them a little bit more full than normal. Not every muffin is like this, so be careful, because I made blueberry muffins one time and they definitely got all over the pan. But with this banana bread recipe, I find you can really load that mix in there and it'll be fine. So after every spot has gotten a heaping scoop, I kind of just go back in and fill in the ones that are slightly less full with the remaining batter until all the batter is gone. And a lot of times I do actually like to double this recipe. That way I can have lots of breakfast muffins for the week. But this time I only had 3 really ripe bananas, so I only made 1 batch this time, but that's okay. And also these little spots that I've kind of gotten on the sides, it helps because you have sprayed them really well with all that cooking spray, and it's kind of nice and slippery, so you can just put that batter back into the muffin tin and it really doesn't get terribly dirty on there, which is really nice. So once all your batter has gone in, they can get popped in the oven. Remember, it is at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are going to set our timer for 20 minutes. While we wait for those muffins to bake, now is a wonderful time to get some of those dishes done. This is another reason that I love baking, because I can kind of make my mess and then pop whatever it is in the oven, and then it gives me perfect time to clean up, and then by the time everything is ready and done, the kitchen is already cleaned. With cooking, it's not quite like that. Now that that timer has gone off, we can check our muffins. We're gonna pull them out. See, you can overfill them. Some are bigger than others, but they don't get all over the place. But we are going to check those muffins with a toothpick. And if they are coming out clean, like you'll see here, then they are done. I always check just a couple just to make sure. And then what we are gonna do is we are gonna let those rest for 10 minutes in the pan, and then you can just kind of twist them and pull them out of the muffin tin. And once they are out of the tin, I put them on a cooling rack and let them cool the rest of the way. And don't forget to turn off that oven. Well, editing Kindra here, and I never filmed an outro. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed this kind of bake with me video. I am learning my camera and my equipment, and I don't have a lot, so I'm working with what I've got, and yeah. I am just here to, again, show that, like, just because you're a stoner doesn't mean you don't live a normal life. So, today I was baking muffins. Tomorrow I'm gonna be trimming weed. You know, this weekend, who knows? Who knows what we're doing? So, anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!